Welcome to Lucky These Stories. You know, as a part of an ancient India, there's a concept where when turns into a full-fledged adult, um, the parents would actually tell their child to leave home, either to go to the Gurukul or they would say to go to travel for almost 12 years. And when the kids would come back, turning into a full-fledged adult with all the experiences, the first thing the parents would ask him is, what did you learn? Not what he made, money-wise. With that said, we have a special guest today, Sudeepa, and she is a solo traveler, and I know her for almost 12 years. That makes it a traveler coming back after 12 years and talking to us on my Lucky These Stories podcast. What should I say about Sudeepa? I know her for 12 years, as I said, but most importantly, when I think about Sudeepa, I think about somebody who has a great vocabulary, a great sense of humor, and most importantly, what I have known in past few years, that she's been a solo traveler. And she has traveled 60 countries throughout her lifetime and 22 in the past 1 year. So this episode is dedicated to her and also to all the people who are actually listening and who would like to do a solo travel and who would like to understand what is it like to be a solo travelers. And we'll also hear from Sudeepa's point of view, like what inspired her to do solo traveling. What is that she found from an experience perspective? What's one of the things that she found good, and what are some of the challenges? And we'll uncover some things that a solo travelers would experience. So Sudeepa, welcome to Lucky These Stories.
Thank you, Lucky. Thank you for having me.
And you know, I have to tell you this. You are the third person coming on our podcast. We have tried to make it a little look prettier. We have a nice flower. We have the backdrop. We have the cup, Lucky These Stories. So you are actually, you're charmed to our podcast.
Oh, thank you so much.
So why? So let me start with this. Why solo travel?
Why?
That's a big question.
It's a big question, but I think people who are solo travelers might find it very easy to answer. Why? Why is equivalent to freedom.
Why is what?
Equivalent to freedom. So solo travelers have the freedom to everything, right? Freedom to choose where to go, make decisions, don't have to wait for anybody, don't have to ask anybody. They are completely free to make their plans, execute the plans their way. And then the biggest freedom is to enjoy the place in your form. You don't have to think about, oh, maybe I shouldn't go here because my friend, partner, child, husband, parents wouldn't like it. No, the freedom to enjoy what you want, the way you want it, and exactly how you want it. So people who value freedom a lot can understand that freedom is enjoyed in every form. Then why not travel?
But then I think anybody and everybody would want to have a freedom. But the point is, I think you, being a mother, a full-time worker, and how do you get in? So let me take a step back before I start this. What inspires you? Like, what is that inspired you to take that first solo trip? What was that? Was it like that freedom, or is there some event that took place, or is it something that you always wanted to when you were a child, but you didn't have the means and things to do to get to where you wanted to be? So how that inspiring took place?
I'm sure you traveled as a child with your parents, like anybody else, right? I think I was one of those kids who always had an issue where my parents wanted to do something and I wanted to do something else. And of course, you go as a family, so you always want to do things as a family. But I always knew, even in those trips, like I always would think, can I do this my way? Can I go there? I'll just come back in 10 minutes. So when we used to do as a family, things that they would enjoy and things that I would enjoy would be a little different. And I would always tell myself, I wish I was here alone. I would have spent more time there or spent more time here or something. That was a very, very basic seed. And then I always throughout the years realized, okay, not saying that that's how it started, but over the years I realized that I always want to do things my way, especially in terms of travel, and I was not enjoying other people's company as much as probably anybody else should. So initially I thought maybe I'm different, maybe I'm a loner, maybe I don't like to get along. You know, as a person growing up, you have these confusion. So I'm like, yeah, why not try it out? All these questions that I have, maybe there's only one way to find out. Let me go alone and see. Then I can able to see. So I took my first solo traveling when I was 18 years old. My parents like, okay, fine, you're 18, you want to do it? And I think that was an eye-opener. And I realized, true, I really, really, really enjoy traveling alone, doing things my way. And everything that I take home from that travel was very different from what I did the same place with my family. So I went to the same place because I wanted to prove something.
So you went first
To the
solo
same.
and then with the family?
No, I went family all throughout the years.
And then you went to the
and
solo?
then when I went solo to the same place that I went with my family earlier. So I wanted to see the difference, and I realized, man, I did enjoy more solo. So I did another solo trip just to say, okay, maybe that was a fluke. Maybe I'm gonna see if this one was really the one for it. And I did it again. Then I did it again. Then I did it again. By the time I did the fourth trip, I think I'm like, you know what? Maybe this is what's my calling. This is what I truly enjoy. I probably truly enjoy doing solo travel. But over the years, you know, I did marry and I had kids and I took trips with my husband and my kids. Not saying I don't enjoy those. I did enjoy those. But every time I did that, I also realized that maybe I enjoy solo traveling tad bit more than with other people. So it's like a realization. You have to able to enjoy it, or you won't be able to do it. So it has to be a little bit more enjoyable than everything else, little bit more motivating than everything else. If you do not do that, solo traveling can really be lonely and be hard. So you really need to know, do you really enjoy that or not?
So I want to thank you. That was a good explanation. But let me take it back. I think you used the word that, you know, your parents wanted to do this and you wanted to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it can be mistaken by a family that, you know, a kid is rebellious.
Oh, yeah.
So do you think as a child you were rebellious?
Oh, even now I'm rebellious.
Even now?
I was very mischievous as a child. I was the naughtiest. And I think your wife can attest to that I think I'm still the most mischievous and naughtiest person in the group.
You know, if I have to tell you, look, what, you know, my wife thinks about you, the first thing that comes is your sense of humor.
Yeah.
That is how she perceives you. I genuinely mean it. Like, that's the first thing. And I think, and she always says that you have a different way of looking at things. And it's bold. Sometimes society may not see it the regular conventional way. And I think I have asked you many times when I visited your home, and, you know, what fascinates me is that we all work, we all have so many things in our daily lives, what we do, and still finding a passion to do what you wanted to do without compromising. So, and I think it's a compromising, but from your perspective, do you think that when you do this solo travel, you know, you have kids who are in their formative years, you have a family to run, you know, you're a worker, full-time pharmacist, do you think that somewhere in your thriving with the passion, do you think that there is at times you compromise on certain things? And if so, how do you navigate when it comes to a point where your family could say that, okay, like I'll give you an example. When I after having a kid, if I'm traveling alone, on a work trip, or if I'm, one of the weekends I'm by myself with Zena, I go for a dinner or a lunch, and I would have something and I really like it, and I somewhere there is a guilt that I wish, kids are home. I wish they were with me. I wish they could also experience what I'm experiencing, this moment, this food, and this time. Do you, when you do follow your passion, which is your solo trip, do you experience this? That do you feel that guilt, or you just don't? You
No, I
just
don't.
uncover yourself when you travel, and just you and that whole, like,
So, to put it very straightforwardly, I do feel guilt when I'm working, right? I do feel that, okay, I should have spent more time with my family. I do feel guilt, maybe some other social events where I go alone, where it's my work party and it's not, and I only go alone there and not take my kids or my coworkers. And I'm like, oh yeah, you know what, this was a nice place. My kids would have enjoyed this. I wish they would have asked me to bring my spouse or something. There are so many instances in life where I always feel, like you said, maybe missing out, or I wouldn't use the term guilt, but I would say I would always miss out, and I would wish that my partner or my kids would be there. I've never felt like this when I've solo traveled.
you never.
No.
So
That's why I'm telling you that solo traveling is very subjective, and you really have to enjoy it. Otherwise, it can come with myriad of reasons that you just gave. Kids, husband, missing out, guilty, compromise, feeling, oh, you're doing it at somebody's expense, things like that. So either you're really, really focused and you enjoy that thing, or you can't. So it's always easy to travel with family, with friends, with kids, or let's put a big blob on it. Say it's always easy to travel with a companion, which comes under the umbrella of everything, right? It's not easy to travel alone. It's not. But it's only people who truly enjoy that can actually do that without feeling anything that you just mentioned. So I know, I don't know, I don't think I'll be a favorite with a lot of people when I say this, but no, I never feel guilty, never feel. I only have one expression when I travel alone, and that is complete contentment.
But do you think that's also big? So is it right for me to think that where there is a compassion, where there is a passion, there is no space for guilt? Irrespective of whatever you do, like if I have a passion for work, let's say, and I'm traveling and I'm continuously at work trip, but I'm passionate about that work, and I may not miss my family because I'm at work and I'm passionate about this. Do you think that's possible too?
No, I think guilt is only not existent when you're 100% enjoying the thing.
And that enjoyment comes with the passion. Because if you're
Could
completely
be,
passionate
it could
about
be
things,
passionate, it could be focused, it could be something you're really driven. There's so many adjectives we can use. But if you truly enjoy something, like you might enjoy your coffee, do you miss chai while you're drinking coffee? You don't, right? So you can, if you are 100% contentingly, very contented, enjoying something, I think there's very little room for guilt because you're actually doing something that you enjoy. Why would you be guilty? You cannot be guilty for enjoying something, right?
and when I'm drinking in Lucky the storage cup, I mean, I better enjoy this.
Aha.
So fair. I think you have a great point. But let's take that back for a second. Let's say you took a solo trip, right? By the way, I'm asking you all these questions which I wanted to ask you when I came for
Go
a dinner
for
at
it,
your
Lucky.
home.
Go for
And
it.
I didn't have a courage to ask. So I think I'm using this platform for every way I can to
Oh
make
my
sure that I
God.
get everything what I wanted
Yeah,
to
we're going
know.
to edit a lot of
No,
things.
we are not. I think no, but in a good spirit. It's not meant to make you feel bad or low or anything. It's just more from a curiosity
Oh,
perspective.
of course.
Let's say when you're doing a trip, right?
Mm-hmm.
You went to a solo trip, and obviously you have to take a time off while your kids are in school, right? I mean, you can't do a 22 countries in 1 year just being when your kids are in summer vacation. Obviously, your kids are in school when you probably end up going somewhere on a solo trip. I'm sure it would have happened, the incident.
No, so I space things out. Sorry, I didn't mean to
Yeah.
cut you. So I also took solo trips throughout my life when I even had kids. The intensity was not that much because initially, when they were very, very young, I did not. So I did take a break of 5 years. For those 5 years, I will not say I did not travel. We travel. I'm very passionate about traveling. So we would travel, but I would travel with kids and husband, right? So I did that. After 5 years, I did take a solo travel. It was very small, very brief. My kids were 6 years old. The older one was 6, the younger one was still 4. I hired a live in nanny for that 4 days, and I did a trip. Then, when another few months went by, I hired the same live in nanny and I went for another 4 days trip. So, now obviously my kids are grown, they're independent and everything, things have become easier. But since you said I need to say these things in order to inspire people, I'm just trying to say I do not take trips only when they are off school. I have taken trips when they are in school. I have taken trips by hiring people, making sure that it doesn't fall on my husband, because you're never going to enjoy traveling if it's at the expense of somebody else. That's when the guilt factor is going to come in. You really need to you're not supposed to be selfish in order to enjoy what you like at somebody's expense. Not talking for everybody, but for myself, that doesn't work. But again, so anybody who thinks, oh my God, I have to do solo traveling only when my kids are teenagers or when they are 12 years old or independent, maybe yes, but that's not what I did. I did travel along when they were 6, 7, 8, 9. My son was just 4. He was not even in preschool. I used to have a live-in nanny, keep them, and take 4 days off. So if that was a case where you said, oh, is it only because of summer vacation? No. Coming to 22 countries, I actually did 22 countries last year during the summer vacation.
Just in summer.
Just in summer. 3 months of summer, I did 22 countries. But that was probably my one and only time when I did so many countries at one time. It was something of I don't know, it just happened. Didn't plan on it. But I usually take 1 or 2 countries and visit it for the 4 days. Usually, that's I probably must have done 3 countries maybe in a span of 7 days. But 22 countries in 3 months of summer was just last year. But anyways, it doesn't matter how many countries you do or not. The point I'm hoping you're getting at is, how do I manage with having kids, being a full-time working personnel, and also obviously having a married life. And for the record, I love being married. I really like being a wife. I really like having a home to go to, a husband to go to. So just because I'm a solo traveler doesn't make me a solo person, though. So that's a very big misconception a lot of people have. They think loners and people who are single are the solo travelers. So I probably would want to say that to you, that just because I travel solo doesn't mean I like being solo in my regular life. So it is possible to be a solo traveler, if you really have the dedicated passion and enjoyment, true enjoyment from it. You need to be true and dedicated to that. But it is very much possible doing it while you have young children, while you're a full-time professional and a homemaker. It is very much possible.
And while you are young. You have a mobility to
Yes.
go and travel.
So I was going to come to that later on because it's going to be a little bit of a surprise, but I don't get a lot of support when I'm solo traveling, except my husband. My husband is exceptionally supportive. Exceptionally. I think if I didn't have such a supportive husband, maybe solo traveling would have been very difficult. I have an amazing husband. He's very supportive. But I do not get the same support from my family. That includes my parents. My mom hates that I solo travel because she thinks that I don't pay attention to home or I'm negligent towards my kids or my husband. It's she's like, oh, can you not solo travel? Can you like probably drop the kids with us and do it? So that's where I started dropping my kids to my parents over the summer. So she feels that I'm like, okay, ma, let me put your mind to ease. If that's what you want, I'll do that. But I'm telling you that because the whole thing to it is that why do I solo travel now? Why did I continue doing solo travel when my kids were young? It's very different when I was 18. Of course, I was not married. And so everybody discounts me for that. Oh, yeah, you're allowed to solo travel then. What people do not approve, and I'm going to use the word approve very carefully here. So I've seen a lot of people in my social circle, my own family, my relatives, they do not approve of me traveling solo while being married, while my kids are young. The only thing why I feel that is more imperative right now than ever is because you should travel when you're able to. A lot of parents feel that, okay, but my kids will grow up and then I'll have the free time and I'll do it. Yeah, you will have the free time. But will you have the physical agility? Would you have the mental energy? It's not physical energy. You require a lot of mental energy for solo travel because you're solo. Everything has to be done by you. Good, bad, everything, right? You need to have that mental stability. You need to have that mental patience. You need to know, okay, I can miss a train. I can. It's possible. I could be in a very wrong neighborhood at late hours. I could not know what is safe and what is not safe. These all come with the territory. You need to be mentally be okay that, okay, this is something I took as an onus on myself and I'm ready for everything that comes with it. You will see as you grow older, you don't have that mental bandwidth to say you always play it safe. You're always like, no, I'm not that impulsive. I'm not going to take that safety quota out of the whole equation because I'm grown. I'm a grown person. I know better. I know, I understand. You'll probably be 20 more steps more cautionary and on not doing that thing. But guess what's going to happen? And I'll say that from my experience. All of my best moments have been the moments where I've been a little impulsive, where I've been like, okay, maybe I can be a tad bit less cautionary, less anxious. Oh my God, what's going to happen? And let me be a little bit explorative. We'll see. We'll see what's going. Is that the safest thing to do? No, but you probably have to take a little bit chances, which comes with age, where you feel like, okay, you know what? I'm able-bodied, and I think I'm able-minded, and my reflexes are on the point. I think I can deal with it. But with experience, I realize my reflexes are not so sharp as probably I was 10 years ago. So I can only imagine what's going to happen 10 years later. So that's the reason why I think now I'm traveling a little bit more rigorous because I feel like it's like sand. Time is slipping away.
But Sudeepa, I want to take you back. You said your first solo trip was when you were 18.
Mm-hmm.
And, we both come from India, so we know it's a little conservative country. When I was at that age, around 17, 18, I wanted to go to Australia. And I remember, there was the embassy in Delhi. So I was living in Gujarat. And I asked my father, would you come with me? Because I can't go by myself. I was a boy, right? Not to say that the girls and boys are like, you
were young. I was
young, yeah. Right? I told my father, I said, please come with me. And he said, nope, if you are willing to go to Australia,
Do it
to
yourself.
other continent without me, why can't you go within this country to New Delhi?
Makes sense.
It makes sense. But I was scared. I went in the train, and back then there was, I had a ticket on a waiting list. You know, in train those days, there's a waiting list. You have to wait. I didn't get the ticket. I had to deal with the TT, the conductor, and it was hard. Everything was very hard. Very nervous. Very scared. In train, I sat on a third
Yeah, yeah.
um,
The top bunk,
top
yeah.
up, but because I was like, I don't want to deal with anybody. With that said, I think you, when you travel, I'm sure your parents would have also been worried that
Yeah.
you're going by
Yeah,
yourself.
but see, remember what we said about me, rebellious?
I know, but so you never get scared or worried when you were on your own, like that false stall. I'm sure you would have
No,
felt a little bit like, what if this would have happened? What if
no,
this would happen? No?
no, I actually don't. I never felt it then. I never felt it now. This year, I was, so I don't know if you, I think I've spoken to you a couple of times that I did diving, deep sea diving, right? I'm a good swimmer actually. I'm one of those really messed up good swimmers who's shit scared of water. I'm very scared of water. However, I'm a very good swimmer, but I'm very scared of water. I don't enjoy it. Just because my brother has started diving, I was like, oh, this is something new. This is something. And he said, diving is just not about diving. You actually get to go to other countries and dive. I'm like, oh, so that got me into it, right? So I tried. I'm somebody who's really scared of water. I dived, and I've dived a couple of countries. I dived in Hurghada, Egypt. I went to Malta all the way to dive. So I dived with my brother in Turks and Caicos. It's an island, right? So I've been deep sea diving. I do not ever see myself being scared of being alone and traveling. But can I say, oh, I'm not scared of anything in life? No, that'll be a big lie. I am a person who gets scared of things. Yeah, have a snake over here, and I'm out, right? So I'm scared. So I am scared of certain things, obviously, just like any other person. But traveling was never one of them. Being on my own was never one of them. Being alone was never one of them. Being alone in a social setting while traveling is never. But if you tell me, okay, go to a party, you don't know anybody, would you go? Oh no, I'll be so scared. Oh my, what am I going to do? Who am I going to talk? What am I going to do? All the scare, all the inhibitions come to me. But then you change the question and you say, oh, here's the ticket, there's that country, you don't know anybody, there's something that's going to happen over that in country. Could be could be a, for the lack of better words, maybe a concert or something is going over there. Just go, all right? I will. And I would never be scared. And if you say, I don't know the way to go, you got to research, figure it out. I don't know what place. This is the ticket. Now you're on your own. Where is the concert? How are you going to go? What are you going to navigate? I'm like, yeah, I'll figure it out.
You enjoy that process?
I
That you're
don't,
navigating through
I
this, or
don't,
you enjoy the end product where
no,
you're
no,
trying to.
no. I think for any solo traveler, it's the process, or for any human being, right? It's your journey. Do you ever enjoy the destination? Ever? Think about in everything about your life. Did you always want to see your son grown and married? No. You wanted to raise him, see how it is to raise him, see how he is a toddler, how he becomes a bratty teenager, then how he becomes a understanding young adult, then how he looks for his way. Our goal is to reach the destination. That's for everybody. And destination can be anything. It could be success, it could be job, it could be being an adult, it could be anything. Our goal, and that's what we've been raised from childhood, that you have to have a goal. An aimless ship lands nowhere. We all look for goal and destination, but obviously reaching the destination, we go through the journey and through the process, and we all enjoy that, right? Because that's how we figure out, and that makes the destination much more beautiful. But have you ever, I don't know, I mean, I don't think you can ever relate to this. Sorry, not trying to be sexist over here, but when I was pregnant, I enjoyed the pregnancy and I was so much waiting for 9 months to get over because that was my first child. So I wanted to have the baby in hand. I was like, oh, when is the 9 months? But it's so funny, and I'm sure a lot of women might relate with me. When you finally do have the baby, there is a sense of, is this over? Is this what I was looking for? You have a live child in your hand, and now you're like, but for a minute you think, oh my God, what I was waiting for 9 months has finally happened. And you thought you might be in cloud nine. But then you just start, when days go by, you're like, oh, when I was pregnant, the kid used to kick. I used to have these cravings. You start going back and remembering the process. I'm sure now your kids are teenagers, right? I can bet there are times when you sit and talk to your wife, you're like, do you remember when Akam was 5 years old, he did this? You're not talking about what Akam did 5 days ago. You're pretty much going nostalgic, and you talk to your wife and you're like, you look at your pictures, old pictures when your child was 5, 6, 7. This is human nature. We always love the process, the journey to whatever our destination is. Coming back to your question, did I ever have a fear on stepping the first step towards the journey? No, never. Never. If it's related to travel, no. I was never scared. My parents had the same mindset as yours. My father was like, okay, so you're not going to listen to us? No. You want to travel on your own? You're a girl child. Safety, this, that, go. Whatever happens is your responsibility. You can never turn around and tell us this or that, and you're not going to call us from wherever you are. No saying, somebody stole my money, I lost my this. If you are in deep shit, take yourself out of that. Sorry for my profanity. Sorry, podcast. If you're in deep trouble, take yourself out of that. Figure out a way and come back. I'm letting you know, no phone calls will be entertained, especially, can you send me money? I don't have money. My father was very clear about that. Nobody's sending you any money. Nobody's going there to pick you up from wherever you are. This is your decision. You're going to do it. I think I kept on doing it over and over and over again. After a while, they were like... So now if you ask my parents ever, do you know where your daughter is? My first thing my parents were like, she must be traveling and we have no clue where. So I don't tell people. So that's one other thing I think a lot of solo travelers we have in common. We do not decide destination. We do not make plans. And we do not tell people. Especially because we think there's a lot of approval, disapproval, lot of unwanted, unsolicited advices coming. So a lot of solo travelers, we have our own common group and we talk to each other because we understand each other. So yes, I have a responsibility to inform my husband and my family. So I do that.
So do you inform? You brought a very good point. Actually, I want to debunk that point because there has been many incidents, and I'll share this with you. Many incidents where we come to your home, we have a dinner, and the next day, not even the following 2 days later, next day, you have been traveling.
Yeah.
And I tell Zina, I said, we were there and she didn't even brought this up.
Yeah, but that's just me. That's just me. I
thought,
cannot put that on solo travelers.
No. I thought you said it's a solo travel, that you don't want people to know where you're traveling. And you brought a good point. You say that because people give you unsolicited
So that
advice.
Is generalized. That is very much generalized. I also have solo traveler friends who do definitely tell people, take advice and everything. But in a general consensus, when we share our feelings and our travel struggles and everything, it's a community. I have a lot of friends in Europe. So when I visit them, this year I visited a solo traveler. She got married. I was in her wedding and everything. So I'm just saying, when I've spoken to solo travelers, and this is all over the years, okay? I've known these people for 10 years, maybe more than that. I actually met up somebody last year in Malta, somebody who I had met when I was 21 or 22, when I did my first backpacking to Europe, when I had come to this country and I'd done my first backpacking to Europe. I had met him back then. I'm talking about maybe 2001 or
No
2002.
social media, nothing.
Oh,
Just
no. We had
no
nothing.
emails.
Nothing. We just had emails. At that point of time, we used to have a thing called as MySpace.
I remember that.
Yes. So we used to be friends on MySpace, and then we started being friends on Skype or Viber. There was something
Skype.
called, yeah. And then emails. So we've been in touch with each other all through emails, and we met up in Malta. So this is what, 15 years? More? 15 years. Let's put it at 15, 20 years probably. Yeah, people are now calculating my age. So I met up with that person. But the point I'm saying is we all talk to each other, and then we realize that we are solo travelers who all have families, who have kids. They love doing that, women especially. And we've been judged constantly by everybody because we have young kids and we want to travel. So I see that there is people like me, women like me, who have the same opinion, and they're like, you know what, it's just easier not to tell people. Because once you tell them, then they're unsolicited, maybe nuanced judgments will come. Okay, not so literal, but it'll be in a very nuanced way. So those will come. So let's not do it. So yes, for the most part, I have now started taking that stance where I feel I shouldn't be telling people, which is very recent. This is not what I used to do before. Before, it's just me. I do not ever can tell you when I'm going to travel. It's something that comes within me. And it's like one day I might see something and I might feel like, oh my God, I want to go here. And then guess what? I do arrangements with my work. And then I'll even go just for 4 days, but I'll go it. So there's never plan. But this is me as a person, Lucky. I don't tell people when I travel. That's just very personal thing.
No, which is fine.
But I'm not. What I'm trying to say is, don't label that every solo traveler does that. Yeah.
But does it matter when people judge you?
Sometimes it does. I would be lying to say that it doesn't matter.
But you know what? This is where I'm trying to understand. You are rebellious. You like to solo travel.
Branded.
I wouldn't use the word you are rebellious, but you have portrayed yourself that you are rebellious in our conversation.
Yeah.
You solo travel, you have a family, and you do what you like to do. But then you also feel like you are judged and it bothers you.
Yeah.
Shouldn't that be the case? Like, it shouldn't bother you because you just do what you feel like doing. In that scenario, it doesn't matter what people think.
Yeah, but we're still human, Lucky. Man is still a social animal. No matter how much you might say, oh, this doesn't bother me, that does it bothers. Absolutely. You could be totally removed. You could be totally removed from everything and still it will. Do you know when it doesn't bother me? And that's probably, thank you for bringing this point. To all the people out over there, I would just want to say, this is one thing that if you always wonder, why do these solo travelers travel solo? What people are they? What do they find in it? I'll tell you what they find. This is what they find. A moment where they're completely removed from. When I solo travel, Lucky, I do not respond to anybody. I never see social media. I never check my emails. I do not. I only correspond with people who are fellow travelers who say, hey, are you in that country? Can you send us some pics? We just want to see if that's something. I would only post on social media because I have 20 friends like that. I cannot individually send it. So I will send it over there.
Doesn't matter.
So let me complete. What I'm trying to, I got digressed a bit, but what I was trying to tell you is that does it bother me when people are judging me? Yes, it does. But again, what does solo travel bring to you? Solo travel brings you that period. Could be 2 days, 4 days, 1 month, 3 months. That period where you're free from all these things. You're not connected to the world. You're not connected to anything. What does the word solo means? You're pretty much solo. You are Sudeepa, and that's who you are. You're nobody's wife, nobody's mother, nobody's daughter, nobody's friend. You're nothing. Those are my 4 days just to myself.
Are you seeking something? Are you seeking something?
I think pretty much all solo travelers seek this.
What do you seek?
We seek that one time where you're just one with yourself. You and you. That oneness, that complete removal, that complete peace and that complete enjoyment, unadulterated, untampered, and untainted, your enjoyment, free of everything, right?
But then you disconnect from a social media, you disconnect from emails, you disconnect with people. Doesn't it ever cross your mind that you have a child back home? You have a husband. Like,
I
how do
just
you connect? Like,
no,
what
I
if?
can obviously I'm a responsible parent, so let's
Of course you are.
I'm a responsible parent, so I cannot say, okay, for 5 days I'm going to disconnect from my child or from my husband or something. No. I do keep in touch. I do tell my husband, I'm going here today, I'm going there today. Every night I tell him, I'm safe. I'm safe. I do not tell him each and every place I'm going to, what I'm doing. In the morning, I say, hey, I'm in this country and I'm probably going to tour. And in the night, I say, I had an amazing day, please. So morning, I check up on my husband and my kids, and the evening, I check up on my husband. But do you know what I have always requested my husband to tell me? Let's keep it to the point where it's important. Hey, something really important happened with our daughter or our son. I do not want to have a constant communication. Okay, well, she hit him and he hit her and she was crying and they
You
had
just don't
a
want to. You just don't
meltdown.
want the.
No, that's my 4 days to
You know.
myself, right? That's my 4 days to myself. You have everything done for you, and you also have a babysitter at home who's taking care of everything. You have everything set up for you.
Yeah.
If it's not that important, maybe we can skip the details, is what I tell him, right? So and he's also cognizant, right? He's not going to like tell me all these minor things which do not matter much. He will probably only tell me, like my brother. So I went last year wherever I did, and my daughter was with my brother and my parents. My daughter twisted her ankle really bad. If you remember,
I
she
remember
was
that.
in boat, right? My brother never told me until I came back to India to pick them up.
I remember that.
And my brother said, what use would it have been? Telling you she twisted her ankle, broke her leg. What were you going to do? Fix it from all that trial? It would have brought nothing but stress to you. That's it. When we are here who are going to take care or managing it, right? So you have to have that cognizance on what to tell somebody and what to not tell somebody. Thankfully, my brother has that cognizance, and like I said, I have an amazing husband. My husband has that cognizance where he knows what is not supposed to be told to her and what is not. I've never had a travel where he said to me something bad has happened. Maybe it has happened, but he has shielded me.
Sudeepa, I want to say this. We have been targeting this podcast to be 30 minutes.
Oops, sorry.
No, listen.
Cut!
No cutting. So we have a team member. He gives me a sign, and she came twice. And I just made an executive decision. We'll continue this for a little longer.
Oh, no.
And you know why? Because I have so many questions which are unanswered, and I just want to take little extra time.
Good.
And I wanna touch two things before we wrap this up.
Okay, I promise I'm going to keep my answers brief.
No. Please say what you feel, because that's the whole idea. Two things. One, I want to touch on when you come back. So when your kids, you said you took your first trip when your kids were when the kids were 4 and 6, right? They were young. They're living in a la la land. They don't know what's going on, right? Now they are 10 and 12, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Now they're more conscious. They know what's going on. How do you make them comprehend in their head that a solo trip is something for yourself? And how do they process it and thinking that it's okay, she has a life outside this family and she want to do something on her own?
Oh, I'm blessed. My kids have no problem. I think they are accustomed to it.
So
they keep on seeing their mom go. Or they've raised like this. They've seen me going on trips so many times, come back with memories, and I discuss with them, this is what I do. I think they think it's normal for a mom to take solo trip. But that's just my kids.
So that's your kids, right?
Yeah.
So follow up to that question. Now that you go more often as a solo trip, sometimes you go when they are not on a vacation.
Yeah.
There are day-to-day things that kids go through either in the school or in their personal, settings. Do you experience that there could be a time where a child would now go back to the father more than a mother because now you have been always out? Do you have you experienced that aspect in your life with the children, or
I
have they
think
communicated?
those aspect happen to one of the parents who travels on a regular basis for work. That's not going to happen just because I travel 4 days in 3 months.
Do
See,
this?
this would have been if I was traveling Monday to Friday every week, where they didn't have one parent Monday to Friday every week, but they had the other parent. I traveled once in 3 months for 4 days.
And that's
That they
so you
I,
never
you have
experienced.
teenage kids. Do you really think they really miss you
I
that much? They don't even. I'm
no.
pretty sure in their age they don't even notice I'm gone. They are so in their world that they don't. But I think my travel is not that frequent. Lucky for them
That
to have that
what
impact.
what about the cost? It comes with the cost, right? How do you manage the cost? Like it's not easy
Oh,
traveling.
okay. So that this brings us to a very good question. So we have a lot of kinds of solo travelers, eh? But I think for the maximum people that I have met, and I will speak for myself and I speak for those two, I think solo travelers are frugal travelers. We do not enjoy luxurious travels. We do not. Actually, I do not enjoy it. It's not that I cannot afford it. I just do not enjoy it. I can speak for me as a person, absolutely over here. I'm a very, very, very frugal traveler. I travel so frugally that you would be like, okay, why? You really don't have to be that frugal. You can be a little bit considerate, but you cannot have to be. I do not enjoy luxury travel. I do not. I literally feel like, okay, this is not for me. So, yes, cost. I think cost is never an issue. Never an issue because I manage things very, very carefully. I have a budget. Thankfully, I'm in a profession where I can take extra shifts and make up money extra for my travel, and that's what I usually do.
Maybe we should do one separate podcast, how to save money while you travel.
Not save money, but how to travel
Actually,
very
very
frugally. And it
I
is
would
very
be
much possible. It is very much possible. Also, you're forgetting. Solo travel means one person expense. It's not expense. See, when you take a family trip, you're taking four people expense into consideration. You have to take a good trip, right? You cannot cut corners. You have little kids. You have to take about their luxury. You have another person. Maybe he doesn't want to cut corners and live. I feel family trips are more expensive. Solo, one person, how much can it be? It's not. Come to think of it, one person
we will
expense.
definitely do. I would love to do just the topic on just how to travel
Maybe
with
you should.
less.
Let's see if your viewers want
Of course they
that.
would. I see that you have this world travel. Where did you get this hoodie from?
I don't know. Must be somewhere. I think Albania, maybe.
Albania. Um, I would love to chat this more. I still have a lot of questions. I
Yeah.
will have to come over to your home, and now I got that liberty where I can ask
Yeah.
the questions outside
So
what
we'll
I
have a podcast at my home.
of course. No, but what is one country, if you look back, that you think it's must visit to the viewers? Like, what is that one country comes to your mind without thinking? Just that you would want to go with your family, you want to do this again and again.
Egypt.
Egypt?
I think every family. You use the word family. You did
Family.
not say solo person.
Right.
So if it has to be family, it has to be
Is there
Egypt.
history, culture?
Oh my God. I don't think any country in this world has anything to offer what Egypt has. Centuries and
Centuries of-
centuries of old things that you're like, how on earth is this still preserved? Beautiful country, beautiful place. Egypt, yes. Not a doubt.
What's on your trip next?
See, that's what it's like lucky I'm talking to you. I might see something. You might say, "Oh, this I got this from this. This is made in a country called as Cambodia." And the next thing you would see is I'm researching Cambodia, and then next thing you would know by the end of this weekend, Sunil will say she's gone to Cambodia.
So-
It's like that.
Is that a clue?
No, that's not a clue, but I'm just telling you the pattern.
Can I ask you something? This is our new concept. Like we're starting this Lucky D story where we're trying to understand people's story and how people can get inspired. And this definitely people will definitely get inspired for people who wants to take that first step. Wherever you go, whichever country you go after this podcast, month down the line, a year, whatever,
Or a week.
bring us a nice souvenir, and I'll try to keep it here. And I'll say this came from Sudeepa, who's a solo traveler.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind, Lucky. Definitely.
Mind or promise?
Okay. I guess promise, I guess.
Promise?
Yeah.
All right. I think I would love to talk more, but Sudeepa,
Yeah.
I think the time
So
is up.
I'll just recap, okay, for whether we have a next podcast or not.
Okay.
Since
Good.
you
Please.
said that this is a inspirational thing, right?
Yes.
To everybody who wants to do solo travelers, females especially, my thing is you need to be willing to be alone. You need to be willing to be completely dedicated towards this idea. There's no cutbacks. There's no going back. You need to have a thought out mind, and you need to take a plunge. Because if you keep on thinking, oh, can I do this? Can I do that? Why don't you go in? How else would you know? Take the first step, go and see if you like it or not. If you don't like it, you would know this is not for you. But if you like it, then there is so many resources out in this world, which makes a solo traveler's life so much easier and so much nicer with all the things that are around here. It is possible. You could have a 1-year-old child, you could have a 2-year-old child, you could have a 4-year-old, you could have teenagers. Very much possible. Very much possible to do it. Very much affordable to do it. Let's take this tag out of travel. That travel is expensive. No, it's not. Doesn't have to be expensive. And the very biggest misconception of solo traveler is, oh, I'm going to be lonely. I have never had a single solo traveler where I was lonely. I actually had to remove myself from people to say, okay, this was supposed to be a solo traveling. Why am I surrounded? You meet people from all walks of life, all fellow travelers, fellow hostel mates, fellow people on tours. Everybody's in a good mood. Everybody's traveling. People are in their best behaviors, and people spot that you are alone. They go out of their way to try to not make you feel alone and feel welcome. And these are strangers. And then these are these strangers who will help you in every way. And remember, when you travel, you're a tourist in their country. People can hate local people, but always remember, even we are nicer to tourists when they come to our countries. Every tourist is welcome. Every tourist is always helped out. Never have I seen a solo traveler being stranded. So it is such a beautiful thing. Experience it once in your lifetime, and know that there is so much to you, yourself, and your solo contentment in life that at least you owe that once to yourself. So go ahead and do it.
And also make sure you don't think about what people think about you. You just do what you think is right. Try not to have people.
Hopefully, but just do it. Just do it. I think we all owe this to ourselves to make us feel content and happy and enjoying. We owe this to ourselves once at least in our life, right?
Sudeepa, thank you.
Of course.
This is Sudeepa, who has been a solo traveler. She has been kind enough to come to our show. I think I will add one more thing. In the start, I said that she has a good sense of humor. She tends to believe, people believe that she's rebellious, but I think one thing I'll add, she's also a very eloquent speaker. I think I found that you have a quality of that being like, you're a good, you can speak
orator.
Well. I think so.
All right.
I think so.
All right. So I'm replacing Lucky next time. Sorry, viewers.
If I cannot make it, just make sure my cup is there when you're speaking.
Okay.
But thank you so much. I hope you get to enjoy this show. This was meant for people who would like to travel, but they can't for many reasons and excuses they give to themselves. I hope you get something out of this. Thank you once again, and this is again another Lucky Stories, which means it's your story, our stories, everyone's story. Sudeepa, thank you so much.
Welcome, Lucky.
God bless you. You did a great job.
Thank you, Lucky.
Thank you.
Oh my God. Can I see a little clip?
Excellent. Yes. Thank you very much. Sudeepa, हमने कर दी.